Welcome aboard once again on our ship, as we continue our journey towards the essence of truth. Since the launch of our voyage, we have been sailing through waves of questions, seeking answers and steadily approaching the light that dispels the darkness of ignorance. In the previous episode, we pondered the question, can science be a means to know the Creator? Today, we continue our voyage across this vast sea to address a new question. Could the mind be the tool created by Allah within us to grasp His reality? Let's continue this journey together, for the road ahead is still long, the heart still beats with passion, and the mind is eager for more knowledge. Beings interact with the world around them in various ways, and their daily experience largely depends on their ability to absorb information from their surroundings. This ability relies not only on abstract thinking, but also on natural means that provide direct contact with their environment. This is where the function of the senses comes into play, as they are the primary tools the body uses to interact with the external world. The senses work by receiving external stimuli, such as light, sound, and smells, and converting them into neural signals that are sent to the brain for interpretation. For instance, the sense of sight allows us to perceive colors and shapes, while hearing enables us to recognize sounds. Because of these senses, we can understand and interact with the world around us on a daily basis. After the senses collect information from the surrounding environment, the mind steps in to process that information. It analyzes and interprets it based on previous experiences, contributing to a deeper and more complex understanding of the world around us. Perception, therefore, is a blend of sensory reception and mental interpretation, where the mind acts as the processor that organizes and gives meaning to the information. The mind doesn't merely accept what the senses perceive. It contemplates the order and precision observed in the universe, seeking an explanation for this complexity. Through logical thinking and reflection on the meticulous design of the universe and the movement of celestial bodies, the mind can conclude that this order cannot be a mere coincidence. Rather, the mind leads us to the idea that there must be a creative and organizing force behind the universe. Philosophers such as Plato, Ibn Rushd, Averroes, and others have pointed out that the mind can reach conclusions about the existence of a greater power, even without direct material evidence. Contemplation of the universe and life prompts the mind to recognize that there is a creator behind this interconnected system. The mind may believe in things that are unseen based on their reasonableness or internal logic. For example, we believe in the existence of time and space because they provide a logical explanation for the existence of things in the world, even if we cannot see or hear them directly. The mind accepts certain concepts based on rational assumptions that appear logical and coherent within the broader context of our lived experience. If we observe the sun rising every day, the mind concludes that it will rise again tomorrow, even though we have not yet witnessed it. The mind uses causality to understand the world around it. When it sees an effect or a result, it infers the existence of a cause, even if that cause is unseen. For example, if someone sees smoke, they infer the presence of fire, even if they don't see the fire itself. This ability to link causes and effects enables the mind to perceive unseen or unheard things by observing their manifestations in the world. Many of the things we understand are not directly seen or heard. Rather, we know about them through previous experiences or information we receive from others. For example, we believe that there are other continents on Earth, even if we haven't visited them, because we trust the expertise of others and reliable sources such as books, maps, or scientific testimonies. Here, the mind relies on the accumulation of knowledge from both direct and indirect experiences and uses this reservoir of experiences to draw conclusions about things it has not directly encountered. Thus, the mind is not merely a tool for analyzing visible things. It can also be a powerful means to help us think about the reality of the Creator and the universe. Given this, we may ask, can we rely on the mind alone to reach the truth about the Creator? Therefore, the mind can sometimes err in its analysis, leading to cognitive distortions that may drive a person toward inappropriate behavior. There is much scientific evidence supporting this concept. Aaron Beck, an American psychologist and one of the pioneers of cognitive therapy, observed that people suffering from psychological disorders like depression and anxiety tend to interpret the world around them in a distorted and inaccurate manner, based on their past experiences and beliefs. Beck proposed that cognitive distortions lead to automatic negative thoughts. For example, if a person fails at a particular task, they might interpret this as a sign that they are a failure as a person, even though this conclusion is illogical. Albert Bandura, a renowned psychologist, introduced the concept of observational learning or modeling, which explains how past experiences, including observing the actions of others, influence our interpretation of the world and our behaviors. Bandura demonstrated that people learn from past experiences and models around them, but they might misinterpret these experiences, leading to incorrect decisions or harmful behaviors. Bandura conducted a series of famous experiments, such as the Bobo doll experiment, which showed how people could learn aggression by observing others, even if that aggression was unjustified or illogical. In a famous study on false memory, a fictional story was added to a collection of real stories, and participants were asked to recall details about it. What was fascinating here was that some participants began to remember specific details about the fictional event as if it had actually happened. Imagine that. The mind created memories of events that never occurred, reflecting how external suggestions can influence the mind to arrive at false conclusions. Not only that, but there is also the well-known placebo effect. In many studies, patients were given ineffective treatments, but they felt better simply because they expected the treatment to help them. This again confirms that the mind can deceive the body into reacting based on false expectations, even when there is no actual treatment. Moreover, the philosopher Immanuel Kant, one of the greatest thinkers in the history of philosophy, tells us in his book Critique of Pure Reason that the mind cannot reach absolute truths on its own because it relies on the senses to receive information. This means that, according to Kant, the mind alone may not be sufficient to reach absolute truth. Even René Descartes, the famous philosopher who said, "I think, therefore I am," acknowledged that the mind could err if it relied solely on the senses. In his book Meditations on First Philosophy, Descartes pointed out that the senses can be deceptive and the mind must constantly correct its course. Thomas Nagel, a contemporary philosopher, said in his book Mind and Cosmos that the human mind has limits that cannot be surpassed in understanding some fundamental aspects of the universe and life. Nagel emphasizes that the mind, despite its strength, cannot explain everything on its own. Thus, through these examples and citations from major philosophers, it becomes clear that while the mind is an extremely important tool, it is not sufficient on its own to reach comprehensive truth. Here, the need arises for another means that complements these mental capacities and helps humans reach a deeper and more complete understanding of what lies beyond the senses and the mind. We have taken a step closer to the truth, and on the horizon appears another tool that may guide us towards the knowledge of Allah. Supplication? Could supplication or direct communication with Allah be the means to know Him? In the next episode, inshallah, we will confront this question together and search for the answer. Your journey toward the truth is an ongoing one. It may seem arduous and long, but it is worth every effort made to reach the desired goal. It is a journey that requires patience, reflection, and deep thinking, but in the end, it carries within it the most beautiful meanings and the deepest values. Stay with us, For the answer to this question may be a new key to a deeper understanding of our lives and our purposes. The horizon remains vast before us, and the journey is not yet over. I ask Allah to make us among those who learn and act upon what they have learned, so that our knowledge becomes a light that illuminates our path in this world and the hereafter. And peace be upon you, and the mercy of Allah and His blessings.